Hello there. Welcome back to Grade 11 Life Orientation. So today we're going to look at a full question paper of in November exam. So we are going to start on the first question on that question paper that is on the multiple choice section. So please let's don't forget to subscribe and share to our channel and share the link to our colleagues who are doing Grade 11 Life Orientation. More typical examination questions will be uploaded on this channel. So let's stay tuned. So for the first section that we have, which is our section A, 1.1 means various options are provided as possible answers to the following questions. Of course, you have to choose the most correct answer and write only the letter A to D next to the question number. So, of course, on 1.1.1, what does SMART goals stand for? So, of course, the question requires us to expand the abbreviation that we have in the term SMART. So, of course, we have got S, which stands for specific. So we have specific in each and every response. M is measurable. We have measurable. And then R, it stands for, uh, we have got A. A stands for attainable. And then R stands for relevant. And then T stands for time-oriented. So we have that matching in B. So we have B as the correct answer. Then moving on to number two, which of the following are not steps in the government petition process? So we check in terms of the responses that we have. So basically looking at the government petition process, basically it is formally submitting a request that includes your contact details. Also, it should include a clear explanation of the issue and the desired action. So at the end of the day, the petition must be signed and adhere to specific rules. So that is a petition that involves the petition process. So in terms of the responses that were given, the one which is not a step is the mandate. So the mandates are, I remember, in its explanation, basically it is an authority to act in a certain way. So that is not part of a government application process. So as we have a D as the correct answer. Then moving on to number three, the people in organization represents or helps is known as. So in terms of our responses, we've got constituency, advocacy, lobby, civic. So the correct answer that we have is a constituency. So we have A. Then we've got number four, a learner who learns best through class discussions would have A. So the most appropriate according to the answers that we have is C, auditory and learning style. Auditory learning style that we have would C. So basically, the auditory learning style is where an individual learn best by listening and speaking. So they preferring lecturers. It can be lectures or discussions over reading or hands-on activities. So in other words, that individual will be preferring discussions over reading or hands-on activities. So that makes our auditory learning style the correct answer that we have on C. Then we've got number five. Which of the following is not a current major environmental issue in South Africa? So see that according to our responses, the correct one is gold stocks. So from there, we'll move on to the next part, which is now 1.2. You have to give one word or term for each of the following descriptions. So 1.2.1, continuing on a course of action in spite of difficulty or little or no indication of a success. So I see that this is a perseverance. So perseverance is the correct response. So we have a perseverance as the term. Then on number two, the main areas of mass communication is media. Degree of qualifications obtained after the first degree is a postgraduate. And then after that, a formal plan or suggestion for others to consider is a proposal. A process whereby rainwater is accumulated and stored for reuse is rain harvesting. Then we go to 1.3. Answer the following questions by writing the answer next to the question numbers. Write your answers in full sentence. So why is sun radiation a problem? So this is our response in terms of having sun radiation as a problem. Well, basically, looking at sun radiation, it is a solar radiation. That is the electromagnetic energy emitted by the sun that travels to Earth. So this energy includes visible light, infrared radiation, which is heat, and also it includes the ultraviolet radiation. So basically, we see that it is the primary energy source for our planet. So in this case, our question requires us to explain why is sun radiation a problem. So in response to that, exposure to UV rays can cause a premature aging of the skin and signs of sun damage such as wrinkles, leather skin, liver spots, actinic keratosis, and solar elastosis. UV rays can also cause eye problems. They can cause the cornea or the front of the eye to become inflamed or bent. So this is the response that we have. Then 1.3 to explain the general focus of community-based organizations. So this is our response that we have. Voluntary focusing on human rights issues, including HIV and AIDS. Examples include sports clubs, school groups, church groups, youth groups. So this is the response on that part. So moving on to the next question. So on the next question, it reads: discuss how sports supports and detracts from a nation building. So these are the responses that we have in terms of that. Um, so in terms of supporting, we are seeing that it brings people together, people unite under a common cause. Then under distracting, fighting can cause people not to unite. Poor administration looks bad, therefore discouraging investors. So this is what we have on that part. 1.3.4 provide two ways the media could stop sexualization. So sexualization basically it involves portraying an individual in a sexual manner. That is equating their with their sexual attractiveness. That is as sexualization. So two ways the media could stop sexualization is to show equal responsibilities in the household, stop showing women half naked. So this is the last part that we have in terms of our section A. Then I move on to question 2. It reads, define the term euthanasia and mention 2 reasons people would consider this as a viable option. So the definition is the one that we have here, the practice of killing someone who is sick or injured to stop their suffering. So that is the description. Then we also need 2 reasons people would consider this as a viable option. People feel that their quality of life is not worth the pain. And also, they do not want their loved ones to suffer. They do not want to be a financial burden to their loved ones. People are afraid of being abandoned by their loved ones. So these are the responses that we have on that part. Then we'll move on to the next question, whereby the next question is 2.2. It reads, explain why euthanasia could be considered a moral dilemma. So with that, we have got our responses as shown. So the first point, people have different views on the right to end someone's life. So by practicing euthanasia, you could be in conflict with those around you. That is the point that we have. Of course, the question requires us to raise 1 point with 2 marks. We've got further points that we can also include that are there. Then on the next part, 2.3, discuss how family and friends could be affected by euthanasia of a family member or a friend. So this is how family and friends could be affected. They may be against the decision which causes conflict. They would be left behind and must deal with the trauma or loss. So basically, these are the points that we have on this part. Then 2.4, advise a friend on other options he or she could consider instead of euthanasia. So these are the options. Let nature take its course, undergo trial medicines. Then critically discuss why euthanasia is still illegal in South Africa. So first point, it can be abused by those who want to profit from someone else's death. It puts doctors in an awkward position of having to kill someone when they swore to save life. So we have further points that we can also include on that one. So this is the last part that we have in terms of our question 2 with a total of 15 marks. So from there, we move on to the next part, which is now our question 3. So question 3 says, define the concept competencies and set 2 interpersonal skills that companies look for in a candidate. So competence are the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. Then in terms of setting 2 interpersonal skills for we've got those which we have as active listening, teamwork, responsibility, dependability, leadership, motivation, flexibility, patience, empathy. Of course, 2 are only required, which means you can put 2. Then in terms of 3.2, briefly explain why it is important to do research about the company you apply at. So in response to that, it demonstrates that you are enthusiastic and serious about the job. Allows you to be able to explain how your skills and knowledge and values match those of the organization and industry. So basically, you are expressing yourself. Further points that are also correct that we can include. Then move on to 3.3. Discuss one interview practice which could provide some emotional strength. So we try to refer to the information given before the question that we have. So we have to go through the information of fire in the hire before we answer the question that we have on question 3.3. So our question reads, discuss one interview practice which could provide some emotional strength to Anna in the interview. So in response to that, be prepared to answer questions and have documents ready. So that you do not feel uncertain and unprepared. Then have everything you need set out beforehand so that you don't have to rush and make yourself flustered before the interview. Also, third point that we have, take deep breath if you nerves start to kick in to help stay calm and collected. And also we have got the next point, leave for the interview extra early so that small delays that is getting lost or traffic do not add to stress before the interview. So very important in terms of the last point that we have to be there early so that we don't create some situations that are going to escalate the stress that you already have. So that is what we have for this part. Then move on to the next question, which is now 3.4. Advise Anna on 2 practical strategies she could put into place to boost her self-esteem if she does not get the job. So in response to that, view the rejection as a learning opportunity and a positive way to improve your career skills. Ask Amado for feedback so that you can improve your skills. This creates a sense of empowerment as you can do something to fix the problem. Only allow a set as wallowing period so that she doesn't become bogged down by negative emotions, but is still able to get these emotions off your chest. So these are the points that we have in terms of 3.4. Then we move on to 3.5, critically discuss 2 negative consequences of not dressing appropriately for an interview. So these are the negative consequences that we have as mentioned. Question 4, you have to read the extract below and answer the question that follows. So, of course, we've got an extract of animal body uh, tanks. So we go through the extract and then we answer the requirements of the question. In terms of our question, it is construct an essay on inhuman cultural practices. Please number your paragraphs clearly. So use the following as a guideline. Define the term inhuman cultural practice and describe two ways the above ban would be considered an inhuman cultural practice. So, and also on the second part, you have to discuss 3 reasons why people continue with cultural practices even though they cause harm to other living creatures. And last part, recommend two ways an active citizen could help to stop inhuman cultural practices. In your answers, also indicate how each action may help prevent possible future inhuman cultural practices. So, in response to that, we have got the first part of defining the term inhuman cultural practice. So, we have the definition is stated. And also, 2 reasons the ban ways two ways the above ban could be considered an inhuman cultural practice. So this leads to poaching. Often animals are killed in a painful manner, and also these animals are getting close to extinct, which can harm the environment. Then on the next point, I discuss 3 reasons why people continue with cultural practice even though they cause harm to to other living creatures. So these are the answers that we have. Then on the next point, we have recommended 2 ways an active citizen could help to stop inhuman cultural practices. In your answers, also indicate how each action may help prevent possible future inhuman cultural practices. So we have got a continuation on that point. Then question 5, you have to define the concept of digital footprint, and I mentioned 2 ways it could negatively affect someone's chance of getting a job. So we have got the definition of digital footprint, and also 2 ways it could prevent one from getting a job. And on the next point, explain 3 ways how a job seeker could create a negative impression of themselves to others on social media that will influence their chances of getting a job. So we have the responses beneath that. So we have a continuation on that point on the next page on this part. So on the next point, suggest two ways candidates can ensure their social media profiles create a more positive image during their job search. In your answer, also indicate how each suggestion could encourage others to do the same. So on the next question, which is our question 6, define the term substance abuse and mention two health risks of long-term substance abuse. So we've got the definition of digital footprint as our, so this is another response that is supposed to be on the spot. So question 6, you need to go through the extract is given. That is to read or not to read, that is the question. So we've got the extract that we have that you need to read before answering the questions. So beneath the extract, it reads, construct an essay on the dangers of substance abuse. Please number your paragraph clearly. Use the following as a guideline. First, define the term substance abuse and mention two healthy risk of long-term substance abuse. So substance abuse basically is overindulgence or dependence on an addictive substance, especially alcohol or drugs. So that is the explanation on substance abuse. So we'll see that it is also the use of illegal drugs or the use of prescription or over-the-counter drugs or alcohol for purposes other than those for which they are meant to be used. So basically, you are using prescribed drugs that are allowed, but you are not using them for the purpose that they are intended to. So that is also substance abuse. So on the second part, you have to mention two health risks. Uh, Mentioned two health risks of long-term substance abuse. So in terms of those health risks, we have got kidney failure is one of them. Cardiovascular diseases is also also a health risk that is involved. Liver cirrhosis is also part of that. So on the second point, discuss three ways that this new law could lead to risky behavior. So we see that we've got a new law that is in the extract. As we read, it reads South Africa's Constitutional Court has recently ruled that personal use of cannabis is no longer a criminal offense, but the landmark ruling has left more questions than answers for many of the country's residents and visitors are eager to light up until recently, all use of marijuana, also called DAHA, in South Africa was totally illegal. So this is the new position. So the question now is saying, suggest three ways that this new law could lead to risky behavior of allowing marijuana. So in this case now, in our answers, we are saying it will obviously increase the number of people who use marijuana who would then suffer from negative side effects of the drug. And then also, people will be more likely to drive while under the influence of marijuana, making risky driving decisions that could lead to accidents. On the third point, people who are high will be less concerned with safe sex practices, which could result in an STI or an unwanted pregnancy. So, further points we also have on ways that the law could lead to a risky behavior. So, on the last part, you imagine that you are a guidance counselor at your school advising a student on the dangers of substance abuse. Suggest two strategies he or she could employ to convince his or her peers not to get involved with marijuana, and that is weed. In your answer, also, it gets the positive impact of each of these strategies. So we have the responses as shown. On the first point, you have to show them research on the negative side effects of marijuana use to scare them enough that they don't try it. Or alternatively, threaten to report them to their parents or teacher if they continue to abuse marijuana, or say to start so that they will stop because they want to avoid punishment. Further points that we have also.